Hi, Michael here. Finding a job in software engineering is hard. I should know, I've been on both sides of the recruitment process in my 25-year career in technology. One of the main problems I've found is that different companies have completely different ways of recruiting for similar types of jobs. So how are you supposed to prepare? For example, in one company you might have a take-home project exercise to do. In another company, you might have to do a coding with someone watching, or you might have to do a technical test, or face a question from anywhere in the vast subject that is computer science. If only there was something that could help. Well, I believe that ChatGPT is that thing, and it can really help you in your job hunting process. Like any tool, there's a right way and a wrong way to use it. As a recruiter, I've seen people using ChatGPT or AI in the wrong way, and it has given kind of a negative impression of them, and they haven't proceeded very far in the recruitment process. So in this video, I'm going to show you the right ways to use it at every stage of the recruitment process, and towards the end of this video I'll give you some tips on what things to avoid when using ChatGPT. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's first ask ChatGPT for some tips. Let's take the example where you're a React developer living in London with 1 year's experience. And as you can see, it's generating the tips. I mean, they are good tips: network with other developers, go to meetups, prepare for interviews, but nothing really groundbreaking. So let's move on to the next question we shall ask ChatGPT. So now what I would like is for ChatGPT to generate a CV for me. Before it can do that, I need to give it some information. So what I would do is search on some job boards or LinkedIn and get a job advert and use that to prompt ChatGPT to give me the ideal CV for that job advert. I would do this maybe with two or three different job adverts, and then I would customize the CVs generated and consolidate them into one CV or several, which I can send out in response to future job adverts. I mean, generally your CV should be customized for the job that you are applying for, but it's good to just have two or three in case you need to apply for a job quickly. Now, when customizing these CVs, you should be including your own experience and not just copying what's here because it's the ideal experience. So once you've found a role which you'd like to apply for and you've done your CV, it's time to send an email to the recruitment agent, and ChatGPT can help here by generating that email for you. And so this is what I've asked it to do. Please write an ideal initial email to a recruitment agent applying for this role. So it goes ahead and generates it. It's a little bit slow at the moment. And looking at this email, my only thing would be it's a bit long. So what I would do is take this email and shorten it down. Also, once you have sent the email, if there is a contact number or there's some way of contacting the recruiter again, it's always good to send another follow-up email or call the recruiter if possible, just to say, have you received it? And that there again is an opportunity for you to sell your skills and say, well, I have this much experience and I think I'm ideal for the role. So next, assuming you've been successful, you might be given a take-home exercise to work on. Now, if you're not practiced with this, you will struggle. So what ChatGPT can help you with is suggesting 5 take-home exercises for a React developer to complete as part of the recruitment process for the role that you have pasted in earlier. And here it goes away and generates some take-home exercises, and you can use these and maybe ask further questions on how to do these, but obviously I would try and attempt these yourself and be confident on these. Of course, you don't know what the take-home exercise you'll get from the real job would be, but if you have done some practice, then that will obviously help you. Well, if you've been successful with the take-home exercise, maybe you will be invited to a technical interview. So in order to prepare for that, you can use ChatGPT. So here I'm using the prompt starting as acting as a senior React developer, in carrying out a technical interview for a junior React developer, suggest 20 relevant questions. I've just chosen 20 randomly. I mean, you can choose more. And here you get a nice list of questions that you can go away, research, and practice your answers. I would say practice saying the answers out loud, because that will prepare you better for the interview. Something else that might come up during the interview is a coding exercise. So it's worth doing some practice ahead of time for this. So here we can ask ChatGPT to create a typical coding exercise. So what I would do is go away, practice on these. It's hard with coding exercises, again, because every company is different. My tips for doing coding exercises would be: make sure you ask a lot of questions, make sure you're telling the interviewer what you are thinking at as much as possible. Remember, it's not about getting this completely right and producing an excellent answer, but also it is about showing how you think, how you solve problems. So don't be quiet. That's all my main tip would be. Okay, as promised, here are some final tips based on my experience as a recruiter. If you're giving an answer, make sure it's your answer and you understand it and are not just spouting what ChatGPT says. That is why, whenever I've talked about using ChatGPT, it's always in the context of getting ChatGPT to provide you an answer and then customizing it, making it yours. If as a recruiter I'm trying to find someone for a role, I want to have a good idea of what they're capable of. When we have suspected people of using AI to answer questions, it's always not ended well. Which leads me on to my next point. Don't get ChatGPT to write code for you in response to a question on a test set by a potential employer. It's not going to be your code, and if a recruiter suspects you of doing this, they will just ask you more difficult questions later and you'll fall down on them, and you won't get very far. It's well known also that ChatGPT will write code that's inaccurate, maybe out of date, as the data is 2 years out of date, and you won't know it. So make sure it's your own code you're always writing. So that brings me to the end of my tips. If you're interested in learning how to code, or in software engineering, or just in technology in general, please check out the other videos on my channel. Otherwise, see you on the next video.